Terry, welcome.
Mayor Johnson, Council, I'm here to speak on behalf of a lot of the veterans. And I will start by the city of New Westminster has the second largest Remembrance Day ceremony in the province. And it's very well done. The city has grown over the years with the help of veterans. They have been policemen, realtors, lawyers, teachers, bankers, salespersons, mechanics, and newsmen, and even members of the council at one time or another were veterans. The city has the distinction of having 5 veterans who have been awarded the highest honor that could be bestowed for valor, which is the Victoria Cross. One of them, Lieutenant Colonel Peck, is buried up in Fraser Cemetery. I know what a veteran is, but there are many others that really don't have a true understanding of what a veteran is. They think that a veteran is somebody who served in the First and Second World War, Korea, and lately Afghanistan, and I think that's it. But the true definition of a veteran is any person who is serving or who has honorably served in the Canadian Armed Forces, the Commonwealth, or its wartime allies. Okay, so a lot of the people you see on the street now in uniform, they are veterans. These people deserve to be recognized for their dedication and efforts to keep the world peace at a cost of being away from family and friends. It is time that symbol of remembrance for the veterans, such as a crosswalk, be erected as a reminder that they are appreciated and honored. I find it disheartening that a city with a rich history of New Westminster could not pass a motion earlier to have this done. Meanwhile, our neighboring cities and municipalities such as Maple Ridge and Richmond are showing you up, and many more will follow. So I'm asking the council to revisit the motion proposed last year for the Veterans Crosswalk and to pass it. Where we would actually see it a good place at 6th and Princess, and with the idea in motion that it could be completed once all of the construction there is done. It could be added on to the end of that. So I hear a lot from the veterans and other people complaining about the crosswalk, so I thought I would take the time and come and visit the council and see what we can do.
Okay.
Thank you.
We do have a few councillors who might, I mean, I can maybe, I will see what the councillors say before I direct anything to staff. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you very much, Terry. First of all, I want to acknowledge Councillor Minhas's role. While I appreciate Councillor Campbell's motion, it was Councillor Minhas that actually brought this to the floor of the chamber. And it was Councillor Minhas that brought a motion forward shortly prior to last Remembrance Day around trying to see if, I know it was a short period of time, I can't remember how many days, if we could try to get a crosswalk implemented last year with the understanding that timeframes were tight. I did speak to Councillor Minhas and I'll convey his disappointment as well as mine that we've had a year now to be able to have that Lest We Forget crosswalk. And I was at the Legion about a week ago, which I'm going to mention about in a moment, on a more lighthearted moment. But I heard loud and clear from everybody in that Legion that they assumed that the crosswalk was going to be in place this year. It was my assumption based on that motion that it was going to be this year and next year and the year after that. I fully appreciate and understand that things can be challenging, like things are difficult, but I can think of no other project than for our veterans and for people who fought for the country, and the fact that we're here in a democratic institution because of the people who went to war and for the people, those veterans that you refer to. I can think of no other civic project or public piece of infrastructure that should get the attention of this council. We have spent countless hours and money on other projects, which I won't name, that have received a lot of attention from this council. So I'm hoping that, notwithstanding the fact we have now about 2 months, a little less than that, to go, if there's any way, I did hear from many of the folks at the Legion that they were wanting one at least this year at the Regiment, the crosswalk at the Regiment as perhaps this year's crosswalk, and then once the construction was over to maybe move it forward. So my first question to staff is there any possibility that we could still, given we've had a year, be able to implement a crosswalk at least at the Regiment in 2025, and then perhaps a more permanent crosswalk at near Princess Street on 6th for next year for the 100th anniversary?
I'm going to deflect that because that's not a question for staff. That's a question for council. Staff has been given direction by council. They are working with the partners in the community, both in the Regiment and at the Legion, recognizing the challenges of the construction around the Legion right now. And I think they are working towards an approach that works for all parties, and that work is ongoing. And I don't think that, so I think that's the best question I can have. Council have not been given the direction to do that work, to change that work or to accelerate that that consultation with the partners they're working with. I don't know how else better to answer that question.
Well, I think that's pretty clear. So don't need any further clarification on that. I will encourage everyone that's watching and everyone in attendance to be there on November 11th. I'm hoping all members of council can be on the steps of City Hall this year to recognize the contributions of our veterans. So I'm hoping that we do have an entire council there on the steps this year. But on a more lighthearted note, I want to recognize that you did win the chili off, and the reason I was at the Legion was because your chili was one of 6 chilies that was being judged, and I was pleased to have been invited as a judge, and congratulations. I didn't see the award there. I see lots of medals, but not the first place award. But congratulations for winning the chili off, and your chili, as I understand, will be served this year, and it was amazing. It was really, really good. So thanks so much, Terry.
Campbell.
Hi, Terry. Thanks for coming today. I know that I'm trying to look for it, but I won't waste your time or my time. I know we passed a motion for staff to work with the Legion to explore a crosswalk or some other way to honor the Legion. I know we passed that, and I know staff were connecting with you. And so I'm just wondering if staff can share where we're at with that, because I thought that work was underway. And so, yeah, thanks for coming here. And I don't know if staff are able to share anything on that.
I'm not sure what director to look at. Director of Engineering, Director of Community Services. I'm not sure who's working on that.
So
CAO?
through the chair, the motion that was passed by council directed staff to work with the Legion and the Regiment to identify opportunities for commemorating the 100th celebration, which is, in our understanding, is in 2026. So at the time that the motion was passed, staff and engineering expressed that they would require more time than they had available in the work plan to address the question of a crosswalk for 2025, and that the question of a crosswalk or some other symbol would be addressed as part of the overall 100th anniversary work. So that work rests with community services, and engineering is participating in it with consideration of a crosswalk. I have to say that crosswalks are very challenging. So in that area right now, we have a lot of construction going on. So if a crosswalk were to be put down now, it would not last. It would be in really rough shape as construction continues to occur. The other message that I'd like to convey with respect to crosswalks is that they are extremely challenging for us to maintain in a really respectful way. They require maintenance, replacement, refreshing, at some significant cost and effort. And it requires a conversation about what the intent is and what may be the options for conveying that intent. Perhaps a crosswalk is the only option, but we would like to be able to have a conversation about the range of options that would address the commemorative intentions in a respectful and resilient way.